Well, I just got done rotary plowing for a second time. Some of the sod started growing back and I wanted to get it turned back under before it started taking over again. So since we got that done, I think we'll take a minute and we'll go over some of the Gravely tool holder, shovels, and different attachments that you can get to use in your garden, cultivating, planting, maintaining. And this is going to be a two-part series because I don't have everything today. I'm going next weekend to get some more stuff. So yeah, stick around and we'll get going on some of these cultivator parts. All right, so we're back here in the garage. I wanted to start talking about this Gravely tool holder series that I'm going to start, and it's going to start once planting season starts. We're going to start off with using it to plant, and then cultivation, maintenance, and then we'll use it at the end of the year for digging up certain root crops and taking care of closing the garden out for the end of the year. So I just figured I would start off here. We're going to start off with the common toolbar setup. This is Gravely's tool holder, and then I've got it set up as a 5-shank setup. You can set them up 5-shank, 7-shank, different configurations, different shovels on the shanks. This one here is my go-to for just regular cultivation. This is just knocking down the weeds between the rows, getting that dirt worked over so that you get weed suppression to the most of its ability. It's just the standard shanks. You got your depth wheels here that you control how deep you're cultivating, and then it hooks on to the front of the Gravely with the standard 4 bolts. It's got a bolt on the back of it. I'll show you that here. It's got a bolt here in the back, holds the dog gear in from falling out. Now, they do make 2 different types of front tool holders for the Gravely's. They have this style, and then they have a style that goes on the front of a quick hitch. Now, the front of the quick hitch has a hole drilled in the center where that bolt is so that it goes over the drive shaft of the quick hitch. And I'll stitch a photo of the one that I have in. I don't want to go out to the shed and get it out of the shed today. But I'll put a photo in of what it looks like, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about the hole that goes over top of the drive shaft. So to continue on with the shovels, there are many different types of shovels that you can put on these. I guess they call them steels, not shovels. They've got so many different types you can get for them. Gravely worked hand in hand with Planet Junior. Everybody knows Planet Junior for the infamous wheel hose, and into their motorized walk behind tractors that are high clearance to go over top of the rows instead of in between the rows like Gravely. So they worked hand in hand with a lot of stuff. So a lot of this stuff that you're going to see is also Planet Junior. So first thing we've got these, they're like a spoon style. They've got little spoons on the bottom of the steels, and then we'll pan over here to the rest of what I have for steels as of right now. Like I said, I'm getting more stuff next weekend. So the first one is a wider, I'm guessing that about 3-inch, just a chisel point steel. And then you have the one that I just showed you that is like a 2-inch or 1.5 with the shovel at the end of it. And then here's a 2-inch with the chisel tips. And then here's a 1.5-inch with just a blunt tip. And here is a 1.5 with a chisel tip. Now, these chisel tip ones are gonna last longer. They're gonna penetrate better than a blunt tip. But they do the same thing hand in hand. I mean, all of these are going to do the same thing. The shovel ones, you're going to get a little bit more of a turning action in the soil rather than just a slicing action into the soil. But regardless, they all do the same thing. They're all meant for agitating the soil and breaking weed roots out of the soil so that they can be suppressed better. And moving on from there, that's your basic cultivation. We'll move over here to what was beside the toolbar, and that is the hiller attachments. So they Gravely never came out with a hiller attachment. What they did was they went to Planet Junior and said talk to Planet Junior about going in collaboration with Gravely to design, or not to design because Planet Junior already had these, but basically to sell them through Gravely with the permission of Planet Junior. And so they made two different sizes of hiller attachments. I believe it was 6 and 7 inch. These here are a set of the smaller ones. These are good for hilling your root crops like potatoes, carrots, onions, anything that needs to have a hill built around it. Or if you're into planting on top of raised hills in gardens, you take these and you would turn them to where they would be pointing towards each other instead of away from each other, and you can draw yourself up. They call it like almost like a bed lister. You just build up a bed and then you can plant on top of the bed. Leaves irrigation ditches in between your rows and makes hillside planting a lot easier because you don't want that drainage just running straight through your crop. So you put it up on a bed, stops that water and lets it into the roots of the plants better. So that's a full set that I have currently of the smaller 6-inch ones. Here's a single of the larger 7-inch. I will be hopefully coming back next weekend with a mate to this. So then I will have the smaller and the larger sizes. Then moving on from there, we'll go into furrowers. And I've got several different types of furrowers. The first one that we have to look at is more of a ditching furrower. This one here is not made to turn dirt over. It's not made to do anything other than cut a ditch. There is no heel. It's more of just a flat slide. There's nothing to catch the dirt, roll it up, nothing like that. So that one there is mainly for cutting ditches. And then we have the 3 different sizes of furrowers that they offered standard in catalogs that I've seen. We have the 8-inch, the 10-inch, and the 12-inch. Now these are just, like I said, I have seen these advertised as those sizes. Whether those sizes are true or not, there might be a little variance. But what you would use these for is creating your furrows to plant your potatoes in and anything you want to plant down in a furrow. And then at the end of the year, you come back and you can put these on and dig your potatoes up at the end of the year. You can take these in and plow underneath of the potatoes. It'll lift them up out of the ground. There will be some crop loss due to how the potatoes grow. You will hit some and lose some, but you're not really losing them because you can use them to cook immediately. You just don't want to try to store them because they will go bad in storage. Then we've got our sweeps. We've got different types of sweeps here. Honestly, I don't think any of these are Planet Junior. I think these are off-brands that have been picked up through the years. I have added them to my collection because of the fact that there are some out there that are like this and they are usable. And I like to show everybody the uses that they can be used for. So we have 3 different sizes, and we have the heel on them are different on each one also. And basically all these are going to be used for is busting up weeds and just getting that soil worked in, just like the steels, but they they do a little bit better of a job at just getting right underneath the roots of the plants. They're not really digging in. They're basically just going underneath the roots of the plants and lifting them up out of the soil to where they can be killed by the sun and taken care of. Next to that, we have the hose and sweep setup. This one here, basically same thing as the sweeps that I just showed you. You got the big sweep in the middle, then you got the little hose on the sides. Those are going to be used for getting underneath the roots of the weeds, getting them up, turned up off the ground. Very nice to get up close to the edge of the plants where you can't with the steels, because you got the wings. You got wings on the sides of the hose here, and you can get right up against the edge of those plants without disturbing the plant. Keeps it a nice tighter cultivation in between rows and everything. I really recommend these once the plants get up and mature. You can get up in closer to the plants, because you try to get into them while they're young and they don't have a root system established. You really don't want to mess up the root system. But once the plants get up into maturity and they start producing crop, then you can take these in and get up close to those plants and not have to worry about disturbing the root system as much. Up next, we have a set of discs. Now, to my knowledge, I don't believe these are full Gravely. I think they might be Planet Junior. But regardless, they're set up on a toolbar shank, and they do work. You just have to add some weight onto the toolbar to get them to cut right because of the weight of the engine on the Gravely's. You don't really get them enough penetration. They just roll across the ground, and you put a weight on the front of the Gravely, any kind of weight, just add some weight to the front of the Gravely, and they'll cut in just like a normal tractor disc does. Really nice for at the end of the year going through and just breaking down that little bit of crust on the top so that you can start working compost in at the end of the year, or run it over top of the plants that you left in there that have died off through the fall. Run over them and crunch them up. Last thing that I have here today is the cultivator toolbar, or not cultivator toolbar, what am I thinking? The grater blade for the toolbar. Now these here, you can use them in light snow. They're not recommended for snow. You can use them leveling out gravel in a driveway, light work like that. And then what I have found them very useful for is taking through right after you rotary plow. You know how you get those hills in between rows and stuff, and you always have one furrow that you have that's dead. They call it a dead furrow. These here are really nice. You can hook them onto the Gravely toolbar, put a set of the gauge wheels out front, and you can take it through and just bust those hilltops down, level everything out, fill in that dead furrow, and just make a nice, smooth, even seed bed to start planting in. So again, I appreciate everybody staying tuned here. Don't mind my messy garage. I've been working on Gravely stuff and other things, but we restored our commercial 40-inch deck and our commercial 12. We got the rotary plow hooked up to it right now, and we've been busy doing people's gardens and keeping up with the weather that we have right now. And then, like I said, next weekend, come back for part 2, and I will have more. I do know of one thing that I am getting, and that's the Planet Junior seed planter, and that will have its own special part in Green's Gravely's and the longevity of the future of Green's Gravely's and the market garden style of planting that I plan on starting. So keep up with us. Come back for part 2. If you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe. Give me comments, feedback. I'm always looking at the feedback. I read everybody's comments. So I always like to hear back from you guys in tips, tricks, things that I might not know right now. I'm always looking to learn new things. So as always, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and come back next week for part 2. And we will have hopefully several more new styles of cultivators. And I will stitch in the end of this here, I will stitch in some of the postings from the Gravely catalogs of different toolbar setups. So hopefully you all have a good Sunday, and we will see you on the next one.